like all the cases for stuff. So he's just like holding a bass drum, being sick into another drum.
Oh man! So that because that when we were younger, there were some people in my school. I grew up on Anglesey, Menai Bridge School, who they formed a band called the Snivelling Shits, and they showed me how to play a single chord, which was
The snivelling shits.
it was just this, just that, and they put you through distortion. Just do that over and over again, up and down the thing, or even I don't know, it's like without that on, you go like that over and over again, and I couldn't even do it that well then. But once they put distortion on, that was all they did over and over again. Someone would be hitting the things, another one would just be going on the bass. And
Actually, when you said Anglesey, one of the weird gigs I did a show actually on the Rock in Anglesey for a friend's wedding.
on the Rock,
So you know where that sort of furthest point is?
Penlon Point.
Yeah,
Yeah, on Puffin Island.
yeah. My friend got married there.
No way! I took some photos there last year. We took a trip down. Yeah, well, yeah.
His mum and dad own that property next to it.
Yeah.
They're from Manchester, actually, weirdly enough. My friend Matt, and when he got married, he got married there, and I played at the wedding, and they got me to play on the Rock while they were doing.
Not from Ashton-under-Lyne. I know someone who owns property down there that owns a decorating suppliers in Ashton-under-Lyne. Oh,
Matt's,
I know someone else that lives down there. It's Brummy.
yeah, no, he's from Manchester way. God, what's Matt's surname? Matt. Oh fuck, just totally forgotten. Matt. I recorded his band as well. I feel bad. Matthew. Oh,
don't worry.
no.
Anyway,
Anyway, he's a really nice lad. But yeah, it was funny. I was sort of playing on the Rock, and then I got hammered drunk.
Oh, that's not a good place to be drunk. You've got to get off on a boat somehow.
Thinking like my job for the day was done.
Uh-oh.
I got really, really drunk, thinking my job for the day was done, having played on the Rock and stuff. And they're like, yeah, get you up for a set. And I was just swearing in front of grandma and children, and oh god, I was like, oh dear, I embarrassed myself a little bit there.
Well, that's like quite good, isn't it, when your inhibitions go? Because you're not embarrassed at the time, are you? You don't care. You're like, it's
No.
fine.
It was the next morning when the bride just is looking at you over breakfast, going, I'm going, what did I do?
I didn't get naked again, did I? Oh no! Do you know I was going out with a girl whose brother was in the first Gulf War. He was in Scorpion tanks, and he was behind enemy lines for 6 months before the deadline, and nothing happened. But when they came back, they had a party at the house. All these squaddies came to her house, and they got hammered, and it got pretty leery. And I got ill and went to bed. Apparently I got up in the night and walked through naked, walked into the garden, had a piss, and walked back through the whole party. Fucking these squaddies. It was an 18-year-old pipsqueak. And it would have been cold, I bet you. Just all I kept thinking is all these fucking army guys laughing at the naked idiot walking through. And you just don't remember, do you? Which is good, really, because if you did, it's probably worse than you imagined.
Shall we do this thing then?
I'm recording.
Oh, are you recording now?
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
cool. All right, I'm rambling on.
Yeah. I just thought I'd record, chat, and then we'll pick out the interesting bits, because
Yeah, sure, man. Sure.
I think
Totally.
I think that's the way it works, isn't it?
No, just when you were saying about the naked thing, that was quite funny. I just remember my friend Brian. He was in a sort of semi-successful punk band back in the early 2000s called Kids Near Water.
Yeah.
And we were once at a party, and Brian had gone off with this girl. He was quite drunk, admittedly, but he had a tendency to sleepwalk. And so, like, the party's still raging on, but he's, like, fallen asleep. And he sleptwalked, and he's trying to climb out of a window completely nude. He's a really big lad as well. So just got half a leg hanging out. We're trying to pull him back in, and like, my friend Ben just got his junk slapped.
Oh, no. Do you know, I was going to ask if someone saw that.
He's just like, what's going on? And it's like, oh my god, where are my clothes? And he's like freaking out.
I bet he was going like that.
Getting back in and just getting. Just straight on his face, poor Ben.
See that? I mean, the other day, because we were talking about that's rock and roll, because the other day I went in through the exit at Sainsbury's, didn't I? And that,
Did you?
that,
Oh,
that,
yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, that's rock and roll. So,
That's the system.
yeah, but other people copied. There was others when we were
Yeah,
leaving.
you started
I started a
something.
revolution at Sainsbury's of people ignoring the rules. And it's not really the out, it used to be the in. They've just put bollards there, pretending it's the out for some reason. Anyway, yeah, fuck 'em. So, have you ever done anything quite as crazy? You see, I've gone into interview mode now, like Smash Hits magazine. So, Tim, have you ever done anything as crazy as that then?
As going in the air.
Yeah. As a rock star, I'm sure you've done some crazy things, but have you ever pushed the boundaries like I did yesterday at Sainsbury's? You can actually do it.
I actually, when I used to drink, I did have I always had an excuse for when I got blackout drunk. I was always blamed that guy. I was like, no, that wasn't me. That was that guy.
That guy.
That guy. And we were doing a festival, and there was this guy playing this djembe drum horrendously out of time, and he had these sort of big hippie moon pants on. And everybody's just being far too fucking polite to tell him to stop playing his djembe. So I was just like drunk, cheeky little me went, pantsed him. In the underwear, so he just like literally flashed an entire festival.
Did you run
And
away?
his djembe drummer ran off and called me an arsehole, and I was like, yeah. And he stopped playing his drum though.
Did you get a clap? Did you
Yeah.
round of applause? Oh man.
Particularly, I mean, that was like kind of the start of it, and then there was particularly, but he's mended his ways now. He actually weirdly lives in Huddersfield, so he's a really sweet lad. But he's just like he had real personal hygiene issues, and there was this hose, and I'm just there, and I was just about to spray him with the hose, and my friend Jane just like fucking tackled me. She's like, no.
I'm trying to remember some of the crazy, because I've done some really crazy stuff. I mean, I once put a washing machine in the tree across the road, which was a churchyard. So from our house there was a church in Roaven, and it was funny because we got a local butcher to help. He was walking past and he was pissed, and me and my mate are trying to get this fucking, that wasn't a fridge, it washing machine, up a tree. He's going, what are you doing? Trying to get this up a tree, can you give us a hand? And he came and gave us a hand to get it up there. And we did it, and then it set me alarm. I was pissed. So in the morning when the bells were going, everyone was queuing up. I could see them all just looking at this washing machine, wondering what the fuck it was doing. And we put washing lines up and all sorts of stuff.
I feel bad for it now, but this is definitely the...
It's okay, as long as you feel bad for it. Go on.
The follies of youth was, there was this kid, Alex, who was desperate to be popular, but somehow just unfortunately couldn't seem to be popular.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So his parents went away on holiday and left him. And I think Kevin Bridges calls it an empty. He has an empty. So we're like, we all descend on his house for this party. I buried all the light bulbs in the house. Certainly in the upstairs, from the upstairs of the house. Apparently I buried them in the garden.
Oh.
Lighting bulbs. I also gave, like, possibly the most handsome boy in college, I gave him a DIY haircut, plus lost him an eyebrow. He came on the Monday, and he's got like no eyebrows and like no hair, and I was like, dude, what happened? And he's like, oh, somebody took chunks out of my hair and like took one of my eyebrows off. So I just had to like start from scratch. And I was like, oh, that's so out of order. And then all my friends are like, how could you look him in the eye and tell him that? I was like, was it me? I'm like literally like, as I say, that guy. Like I used to, when I drank, I would like get that point where I would just like not know what I'd done.
Oh, I've done
So
that.
this poor kid Alex, not only did he hold this party that literally destroyed his house, somebody found some gaffer tape, and he was quite a small chap, so they gaffer taped him to the ceiling.
No, I've always wanted to do that.
Party gaffer taped to the ceiling. Just watching his parents' house get destroyed.
Oh my god.
Actually, I don't know whether I can record this bit because it's bound to be a historic crime at some point in the future, isn't it?
He certainly got grounded.
Once they got him down, it took a while though.
The other classic, in fact, actually was my first attempt was I was at this party. I ended up literally melting into a seat, but it was a fairly sedate party. Nothing got trashed, but my mate Paul, who he lives in Madrid now, and I love Paul to bits, but he's like, there's definitely a comedy career that's been missed there somewhere. He was so funny, just naturally one of those people who's very quick and very funny. And this guy's house party, and he finds Trev and Claire's special tape, puts it in. Everybody at the party is watching this guy's mum and dad go for it on a VHS.
Oh no!
Oh, party's just aiming. Good form.
Yeah.
He's been chatting up some girl in the kitchen. He comes in to see all his mates huddled around the television. What are we watching? He sneaks through and he's like, oh, for fuck's sake, that's my mum and dad.
Oh, that is a part of my mum and dad I did not want to see as well.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Who does want to see that part of their mum and dad?
Nobody wants to see the hairy chewing gum, do they? It's definitely not what I want to see.
It's like nobody needs to see their origin story.
Oh god,
dear.
nobody needs to
I've
see
seen that once and I don't remember it, and now I do. Oh dear. I was oh god, my dad's cum face. Ah. My mum does that. Wow. But I've got one that can beat that actually. This is quite funny. When where we lived, when my son was born, about 6 weeks later, a neighbour down the road had one, and we never really got on with them. They had the big house, and they thought they were dead posh. But kids are a great leveller, aren't they? They drive you to alcohol sometimes. So we got pushed together a few times, and we ended up going to their kid's first birthday party, which was at their. We ended up at a mum's house where they played a video of the kid's entire year, culminating in the birthday party. And then the following year we got invited again, and by this time we really didn't like them, but we went anyway. And then when it was time for the kids to go, they'd left the video camera on the table, so I grabbed it and I ran down the garage and I filled my arse on it like that. Put it back. We didn't get invited to the after show, but next day she said, "Who's got a red spot on their arse?" He's played it in front of the entire party and the whole year, this kid, and then my arse. Yes. I mean,
fancy having video cameras.
Yeah, they were that type of person. Because we were doing our house up. It was a 2 up, 2 down Victorian semi-detached thing, and it was knackered when I bought it. So the garden was rubble, and they do stuff like, we're going on holiday. If you could check for the mail each day, and I'll leave you a key. You can use the garden while we're away. They didn't even know they were being patronising. I mean, Mrs. used to get wound up to hell, but I used to find it quite amusing. You know, just goad them really. I mean, I asked him if he'd shit himself once. We sat round a fire, and his missus was a shit stirrer, and me and mine were going through a bit of trouble, and we had the kids were in the bedroom with a baby monitor on, and it was between my legs under the speaker, under the chair. And we sat there. Actually, there was a couple of things I did that night which were quite funny. And she goes in the house, and she goes, I hear her go to Shell, "So how are you and Ian getting on now?" And I just leaned down and I switched the thing off because I thought, I don't want to hear what she says next. Or just he's a twat. So I then just leaned across and I started relaying the time I shit myself at work. So I had my own business, and I had this guy working for me, and he's out on the road. And I went for a piss, and I was like, "Oh, that doesn't feel right." And I managed to step out of my trousers, avoiding any nastiness. But I didn't have any other trousers except for a pair of downhill mountain bike sort of combat pants that were covered in dried mud. So I had them on, and I rang him up and said, "Go get me some trousers." When he arrived, I had to explain that I'd shit myself, put them on. Then I rang my supplier, and I said, "You'll never guess what happened today. I shit myself." He goes, "What happened?" I went, "Well, I shit myself." Work. Anyway, relay the story to Mike. And then I said to Mike, have you ever shit yourself at work? And he just goes, no. Like that, dead like, no. And then I said, I'm just going to get a beer. And I went in the house and he got this bottle of Jubilee Ale. It was, not Jubilee, Diana and Charles Ale. And he said, they're in the fridge. And I went like that. I went, and I come out, I'm drinking it. And he goes, what have you got there? He says, Prince Charles and Diana, you've been collecting them. Drinking beer. Fuck you. Oh, God, we took the piss out of them, something wrong.
There's certain things like beers and like things like that. Well, people collect guitars and stuff. They're there to be played.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Make use of them. Like, don't drink beer, play guitar. Do it.
I've got a load of 90s mountain bike parts and a frame from back in the 90s that I raced on that's pretty battered. I'm going to put it back together and ride it at the Malverns next year. There's people concourse them, but what's the point of having a decorative? Although apparently the aluminium can go brittle after a while, so we'll see. See if I just.
Do you know the Hell of the Northwest mountain bike ride?
The hell that would be an endurance cross country thing, so I would know of it.
Right, yeah, because my friend Dan Jones, who made my latest music video, is one of the guys that organises it, and he got me to do like a song for the soundtrack and some drone footage and stuff.
Yeah, your style of music would definitely suit. Because mountain bikers, they liked all that. Back in the 90s, it was that stuff you were doing, the really, I don't know what they call it, guttural rock.
Yeah.
You're sort of screaming almost from your gut.
Yes.
With Johnny at work, who's much younger than me, he's in his 30s, he's well into that. He went through that. And my mate Andy T, who's been through every genre, he was into that for a while. He's played me some stuff which just sounds like that's it, done. You're like, what the fuck was that?
And all that.
Yeah. So
that's kind of like the sludge metal stuff I used to do. I used to do all that. It was great. It was great. I really enjoyed it. It was probably like the most fun release you can have. You just like get on stage, yell your guts out, scream, roll around, jump off of things. Don't think I could do it now, but like, yeah, jump off things, dive into glasses, think I'm Iggy Pop.
Oh, right.
Just like, and it was just so much fun. It was like, he was saying how we did this gig once where we'd only done a demo, but this guy booked us to headline his festival, and it was so funny. It was just like, first, we're like headlining, we've only done a demo, like we've only been a band for about 3 months, and this guy's really put his faith in us to headline this festival. We turn up at 2:00 in the afternoon. They're already drunk and like crowd surfing. Literally within 2 minutes of us playing, kids are jumping off the speakers. I'm upside down and on a table being carried through the audience on a table. Like some sort of fucking Roman king whilst still screaming.
Like C-3PO.
C-3PO, yeah. And with the Ewoks.
Oh, God.
What the fuck is going on? Like, every member of our band ended up in the audience, apart from our bass player and our drummer. And they did try to get the bass player, but he was a big lad, so he was like, we did give him the nickname Concrete, because once he stood down, he just stood.
Yeah.
It was like about 4 kids clung around his feet with him going, fuck off!
See,
It's one of the greatest gigs I've ever played. I don't think we played particularly amazingly, because we were being thrown about everywhere.
yeah, well, they enjoyed it, didn't they?
Yeah, they seemed to enjoy it, and we were being tossed about like beach balls.
I suppose you invented interactive performances then, really. Just come and manhandle the band. So really, you were saying before, like you've not made much money, but you have been successful because you've got all these bloody stories, really. See, that's what
Oh yeah. I've made a living out of what I love.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
16 years. It's like, you know, I've travelled the world. I've toured in places that people maybe haven't. I've toured in Japan. I've toured in Iceland, Australia, Hong Kong, etc. So I've done it. I've been out. I've toured like America 11 times.
Yeah, well, you just got back, hadn't you, when you came to Huddersfield? I think you just done one.
Yeah, yeah, no, it wasn't long back, yeah, because I got back here just end of November, yeah.
And you're doing Canada next year.
Yeah, Canada. Well, Canada, yeah, Canada, and then on to the States again. That's actually a do-over from 2020, would you believe?
Well, before you go, you're coming back up here, so I'll catch you at Stockport.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
So you Stockport, and where else is Europe here? There's another...
Yeah, doing Bolton.
Bolton. Not Bolton.
Bolton.
They're funny
Bolton,
there.
yeah.
That's...
Oh yeah, that pub's. I'm not gonna stay in that pub. I stayed there last time, back in, I think it was in like June or July or something. I played there. It took me 9.5 hours to get from London to Bolton, which was a trek. Just because traffic was really bad, but also, yeah, I stayed in the pub, and the guy, like, bless him, he's a sweet guy. The guy who owns a pub, but talk at me for like 30 minutes, and I'd be like, yeah,
God.
cool, I'm really tired, man, I've just driven for 9.5.
You said, oh God, you're used to that.
I just want to go to sleep. And he's just like, and then in the morning I like get up, and it's like, I realised that I had to move my car quite early in the morning because it was parked in the Morrison's car park, which is the nearest car park.
It's more reasons to shop at Morrison's, isn't it?
But they might tow it, so I thought, oh, I better get out. And so I'm moving all my gear back into the car, and some really drunk young girl who's been there all night, it's like, starts screaming at me. I'm just like, whoa.
Yeah, that's Bolton for you. But that's
Yeah.
where Peter Kay's from, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it? Oh yeah. I know
And,
Chorley.
Oh God, the guy that won that modelling was in that modelling thing. Vernon Kay as well. He's Bolton.
Oh right, yeah.
Because the Bo Selector character of him, he's always going, not Bolton. That's basically all he says is Bolton.
Bolton.
Yeah, but that's it. That's the voice you did. The Bolton. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, brilliant.
Because that lad, is that because yeah, Bo Selector's that lad from Leeds, isn't it? What's his name?
Oh, Avid Merion, he was in Bo Selector, but I
Yeah,
don't...
Avid Miriam, because the Miriam Centre in Leeds, isn't it?
Ah, right. He was good
Yeah.
then. I'm not keen on Keith Lemon now. It's been done to death. But
I can't remember his real name though. Oh,
no, that's the
damn.
thing with him. You do forget it, and I have seen it. It's something dead plain, isn't it?
Yeah, some mates of mine in Leeds sort of knew him from around and stuff, and they were like, "I'm kind of glad he's one of those where they're like, I'm kind of glad he did well because
Yeah, it was that or prison for him, wasn't it? From what I could see, he was humping bloody what's the name? It's like, wasn't he? The funniest thing I've ever seen anyone do, because how he got away with it was her out of Big Brother, Davina McCall. And he's interviewing her on the couch, and she obviously thinks he's funny. She's starting to giggle, but he says, Davina, I like to see you shit, like that. And at this point, he's new in his career, and he's like, what? And then the next minute, he's got her on the couch, he's humping her leg, and he's going, ha, 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 just like, and it just keeps going, and she's just crying with laughter. And it takes some special genius to get away with humping someone's leg on telly and not getting arrested.
yeah, some of them is like sort of no sort of fear of kickbacks. Like old Sacha Baron Cohen's one of those, isn't he?
He's the bravest
Genius.
comedian on the planet, bar none. You know,
Yeah.
dressing as a camp Jew in Jerusalem and getting chased by all those Orthodox, and going to interview a terrorist and telling him that Osama stole last year. It's just like, what? Run! Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, he's had some
fearless.
sort of gun rally things as well, hasn't he? As well. Because my friend Mark Wootton did that thing called La La Land.
mm.
And it was like a similar thing to Sacha Baron Cohen's thing.
Yeah.
And there was one where he was like doing this sort of Michael Moore character.
Yeah.
And then the guy just kind of flips and locks them in the house and calls the police. And Mark, like, obviously on the TV they edit it like nicely to like look okay, but like Mark and the cameraman and the actress that he was with had to literally like hot foot it out of this guy's bathroom window because he'd captured them. He'd literally captured them, climb out of this bathroom window, and just peg it and run for their life.
Yeah.
And like gun and stuff out, and he's like, and I said to Mark, I said to Mark, I was like, you must have been shitting yourself. And he's like, yeah, there was this point where I realised, yeah, maybe this comedy isn't such a good idea.
Well, there's countries that you just you got to be careful. And America, I think, is the scariest country in the world to do anything in because you've got people. I mean, Alabama, who are not very well educated, but they're armed to the teeth, and they have short fuses, and they believe that it's okay to kill people in certain circumstances. It worries me. Plus, getting in, because I've worked in Gambia for Lebanese companies, I'm worried that I get there and I get, what are you doing there? How come you've spoken to a foreigner? That's because I have a passport and most of you don't, you know what I mean? That's why. But it's a funny country. Do you ever feel a little bit frightened when you're over there a bit?
There's been a couple of hairy moments over the years, but normally I'm all right. I've not seen anything that's gone too far south, as far as I can remember.
The problem I have is that Americans find the word cunt the most offensive thing in the world, and over here, cunt's almost a daily use thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I was actually explaining that to somebody on the tour as well.
Well, they'll shoot you for saying cunt over there, oi, cunt.
Yeah, I kind of think there's. I mean, there's some weird shows. Been some weird shows over the years, but there's never been anything that's like where I don't think I've ever had one. There was the biker bar that was kind of a bit rough and ready, but I mean, I took it in my stride. I knew I was there to play shows.
It's a macho culture, isn't it, over there? They're sort of they've learned how to be off the films. They watch films and they grow. Yeah. They don't seem to.
Oh, there was the woman. It wasn't directly me. There was a woman who got kidnapped. We didn't realise that. I was on tour with the band as well.
Let me just take you back there a sec. I asked you, is there anything like that scared you at all? Oh, it wasn't me. It was this other woman got kidnapped, so I wasn't scared.
I was on tour, and the name of the band is the greatest name of a band to be touring America with. They were called The USA is a Monster.
Oh dear.
They're a fantastic band. They're a really, really cool band.
I spit on your flag.
But the USA is a Monster, a brilliant band, lovely guys. It's a two-piece band, and we were touring together. We were playing in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and the guy who's putting on the show and we're also staying with is like, by the end of the night, he's horrendously drunk. Lots of Amish who'd been on the Rumspringa as well at the show. It was quite an odd show all in general, and we ended up walking into the after bar, or we went to this bar because this guy says, "Oh yeah, we go to this bar across the way," and we walk in and we get announced over the karaoke machine. It was a bit fucking weird, but he's far too hammered to drive, so what we didn't realise we thought it was just his girlfriend, drives him home, and we follow her, and we get back to his house, and we just go into I think Colin and Tommy went into the room that we're staying in, and I went out the back for a cigarette, and we're just and I come back in, and they're upstairs, and there's lots of yelling and stuff, and we're just okay. They're having a bit of a domestic. Keep out of this one. Then he comes down about half an hour later, and he's just showing us, and he's got loads of fucking African voodoo masks and stuff, and we're already getting weird, creepy vibes. And it's just all right, let's kind of wrap this one up, get to sleep, and then we're literally sleeping on a hardwood floor anyway. Yeah. It was just try and sleep as best we can, sort of thing. In the night, I got bitten by some sort of spider, so I got some fucking swelling in my arm in the morning. We wake up and it's just everybody's had bad dreams because of all the fucking African masks, and we're let's just get the fuck out of here. And the other two are yeah, I agree. So I'm just gonna have a quick cigarette to get my head in the game, and then we'll grab a coffee at the gas station. As I'm having a cigarette, I just hear this woman's voice screaming like, catch me, catch me. In the car. He's hanging from the windowsill in just her underwear. I had to catch her, and like Colin came and helped me because I came and shouted to him. We bundle her in the van. We gave her like one of the big t-shirts. Fucking shoot out of there, take her straight to the police station. She's like, he fucking kidnapped me. He bundled me into the house after I dropped him back. And she's quite a small girl.
Yeah.
Bundled her into the house, put her upstairs. That's why she was screaming and yelling. And then like, fucking hell. So we're like, just like, do you anything else you need us to? She's like, no, thank you for looking out for me and stuff. And it's like,
So
the car was still there as well. So she didn't have her car keys. So police let her go. It was like, fucking hell. And I was like, I think it was like day 3 on the tour. And I was like, guys, is this always happened to you guys?
I just say, because I mean, you don't know what he was going to do, but it wasn't going to be nice, was it? Whatever.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, so we sort of caught this poor woman and sort of helped her out. But it was just like, yeah, we really need to get the fuck out of here now.
Well, I got that same sort of vibe, in South Australia when I was driving from Adelaide to Robe to visit Shell's sister, my ex's sister, who was a copper down. Well, her husband was a copper there. And you drive past towns and they actually have signs saying whether they have police there or not. So you're like, these must be wild places, crazy things happen. Went through, I mean, while we were there, the Gurong National Park, there was a serial killer operating on the Gurong, and he lived in Meningie, and he was abducting people and keeping them in pig pens. It's stuff that you find out is going on while you're there. It's these big countries, isn't it, with lots of space and lots of places for people to disappear.
Yeah. And that the day after, actually, after we sort of like, our karma levels must have been like level or something, because we got stopped by a cop. We got stopped by a cop on the highway, and we're like, oh shit, we've got locked. This is when weed is still illegal in the States.
Oh fuck.
And we've got like a massive amount of weed, and we get stopped by this copper, and Colin literally like puts the weed in. He has a massive big old beard, like sort of what he called the slip slide away mullet. He's got these sort of massive dreads, sort of, but he's losing them.
Yeah, right.
And a huge beard to Colin, the singer guitarist.
Yeah.
And he just like jams the weed in his beard.
His beard.
And we're talking to this police officer, and it's like this. And then they've obviously been stopped before because they were just so on it, and it's just like he's like sort of chatting to us, and he's like, "Oh, so you guys are band then?" And they say, "Oh yeah, we're a band. What's the name of your band?" And Colin's just literally about to go, "The USA is a monster," and somebody goes, "We're called the Monster." And he goes, "Oh, what do you sound like?" And he goes. And like Tommy, without hesitating a beat, knows what to say to a cop and goes, "Oh, we sound like Rush."
Oh.
Oh, we sound like, I like Rush. Oh, cool. Cheers, guys. Oh, yeah, that's awesome. And he's like, "Oh, so you're in the band too? You've got a funny accent." I said, "Oh, I'm from the UK." He goes, "Oh, you in the band?" I said, "Oh, yeah, no, I'm actually a solo actor. I play kind of blues stuff." And he goes, "Oh, like Clapton." I was like, "Yeah, exactly like Clapton."
Like Clapton.
And then, so he stopped us because we had a busted tail light, and he goes, "Oh, I'll tell you what. This is where the karma part comes in. Tell you what, guys, I'll buy a CD off each of you to help you with the money for the busted tail." What a fucking CD!
Yeah, I could just see your mate reaching in his beard and going, "Do you want to buy some weed?"
Yeah. So and it was like, get back in the van, and we're just like, "Oh my god, I can't believe we've sold CDs to the cops." And then Colin just like pulls the weed out of his beard and goes, "And he didn't even find this, so I guess we better light up a joint."
Fucking hell. Celebratory joint after selling cotton.
Yeah, it was
Jesus.
just amazing. It was just one of those moments where it's just like, us rescuing that girl, that's why that good karma happened with the cop.
I just, I'm just in my head, I was picturing a Scooby-Doo episode. It's just like a cartoon. I think you should make a little cartoon of all these little stories, They're dead funny.
Oh, I wish I was that talented. I wish I was that talented.
Well, I know people who can. Ed can. Because your description of the big beard and the hair sliding, you know, the sliding mullet, because I've never, if I don't, the best thing is whoever draws these doesn't look to see what you look like, and just draws what they hear. I'll see if Ed will do it.
Yeah. Oh, Colin, that tour was amazing. We did the entire tour with the beat up old Dodge van, and we had 7 tapes in the car for a month-long tour.
Oh, you heard them a few times then?
And 2 of them were Prince albums. We basically bought 7 tape cassettes out of a thrift store in New York.
So what year is this then? Is there Prince?
No, we were touring out there in like 2006, I think.
Oh, right, okay.
But like, yeah, we're
Sign of the Times?
We were in like a charity shop, basically. We were just like, there was Purple Rain, and I think, what was it? There was another one.
Purple Rain and Sign of the Times. Come on, it's got to be.
Yeah, it must have been. Yeah, it was like there was the 2 like 80s classics.
They're the best albums, aren't they, for Prince? That.
Yeah. And we had like a Jethro Tull tape, a Devo Live tape. I mean, they were good stuff.
Farmer Psychedelics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were like Bruce Springsteen. We had a Bruce Springsteen live.
See, Bruce Springsteen to me he killed the 80s. See, I was 84. I left school, so right at the peak of the 80s. 85, you got the miners' strike, Eurythmics and Thompson Twins. You got Frankie Cook Goes to Hollywood comes in, and then Bruce Springsteen and all those middle of the road Americans come over, and it all goes a bit pear shaped for me, really. So for me at the time.
Bruce Springsteen did some really good albums, but they weren't the hit albums.
Right, that's what I guessed, because all the stuff we saw was stadium stuff, wasn't it? Oh, in the USA.
Yeah, you see, the one before that, Nebraska's a fucking cracker of a record. He recorded on a 4-track.
Yeah. I've got one of them here, actually.
He's super talented, Bruce Springsteen. He is.
Yeah, I like the boss. It was one of our...
no, but what I'm saying is that my brother was a rocker, and it was naff to me at the time. Now I'm looking at Led Zeppelin, I'm looking at all these other bands that I dismissed because I was into a different kind of music, thinking, what a dickhead. Because I loved Queen. So I liked that guitar as well once. Not anymore, it's broken then. That's rock and roll again. Sainsbury's, and now my charity shop guitar. So see, Tim, you may think you've lived a rock and roll style, but you see that. I'm gonna go and make a cup of coffee and take a break. I've really enjoyed this, actually. Are you all right?
Yeah. Should we say try, because it's sort of getting on a bit now, time-wise.
Yeah.
Do it again sometime, man.
Yeah, that's really good. Let me know whenever you're available. I mean, I'm working. I don't work Mondays and Tuesdays now, so those are best days. Saturdays, Sundays, Mondays, Tuesdays, best days for me. But I'm flexible because I get back here about 6:30, 7 o'clock most nights. So,
I'm knocking around the house at the moment. My wife's upstairs working at the moment. She's got to work a bit of overtime, so. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll write this. The other thing I was going to say, I'll stop recording now, actually.